Well, good afternoon. I am pleased to join you here this afternoon on Treaty 6 territory, and pleased to provide any comments and answers to questions on the topic of the UCP's new affordability initiatives that have come through the act that they introduced this afternoon. Just as an opening statement, I will observe that this piece of legislation has been in the works for some weeks, and yet we still don't have answers to key questions, such as when people will receive some of these benefits. In particular, the $100 a month seems still extremely back of the napkin, and there's no certainty whatsoever for families that are looking for those extra supports over the holidays. I will also note that this package of initiatives leaves out 2 million Albertans. So there are a number of people that have simply not been considered by the UCP government, once again pointing to their lack of competence, professionalism, and indeed their lack of consultation or real understanding of their actions and how they have an effect on ordinary people in their everyday lives. I'll also note that a number of these initiatives are quite limited in scope, whether we're talking about the electricity rebates or the natural gas piece. And the final point I'll make here around the uncertainty of the rollout of the benefits is that Albertans have really not been given any assurances over the last 2-3 years of the pandemic supports, whether it was businesses or supports for individuals, renters, nonprofit organizations, and so on, that there will be a smooth rollout of any of these benefits. We've seen, just really incompetent rollout of these sorts of programs over the life of this UCP government, and certainly the answers that were given today don't inspire confidence that we're going to see anything different in that regard this time.
And with that, we'll turn it over for questions. A reminder, press *9 if you're dialing in or use the raise hand function on Zoom. A reminder, state your name and outlet at the top. And we'll go to our first caller. Go ahead, caller, your mic's unmuted.
Madame Phillips, je vais vous demander une réponse en français, s'il vous plaît. Quelles sont vos principales inquiétudes par rapport au projet de loi qui a été déposé aujourd'hui pour les mesures contre l'inflation?
Alors, nous avons un projet de loi ici qui propose une pénurie de détails au sujet du $100 par mois, quand ça va arriver et dans quelles circonstances. Ils ont dit peut-être en janvier, c'est pas vraiment une réponse pour les familles qui ont besoin de cet argent-là. Nous voyons aussi qu'il y a 2 millions d'Albertains qui ne sont pas inclus dans ces initiatives-là. Alors, il y a beaucoup de questions. Il y avait beaucoup de questions. Ça fait des semaines après l'annonce du Premier ministre. Et ces questions restent. C'est très clair ici que le gouvernement n'a pas écouté aux Albertains qui ont dit... il y avait beaucoup d'inquiétudes au sujet de ceux qui ne sont pas inclus dans ces projets de loi. Et ces inquiétudes-là n'ont pas été écoutées ou rien a été fait pour ces gens-là. Et c'est très, très dommage parce que les individus ont besoin de cet argent-là.
Do you have a follow-up, Audrey?
Yes, still in French. Et vous avez été au gouvernement il y a quelques années à peine. Dites-nous à quel point c'est réaliste de lancer un programme comme ça avec un mois environ qui nous reste avant le paiement de ces $600. À quel point c'est réaliste qu'il soit en mesure de le faire en quelques semaines comme ça?
Nous avons beaucoup d'expérience avec ces programmes ici. Nous avons vu beaucoup de programmes durant la pandémie qui ont été structurés comme ça. Et alors, il y a beaucoup d'exemples dans lesquels le gouvernement peut utiliser. Et aussi, Ça fait 3 semaines, peut-être un mois, que le Premier ministre a fait ces annonces-là. Si ils n'ont pas voulu distribuer cet argent-là en façon que c'est vite et il ne doit pas faire ces promesses-là. C'est pas responsable de dire à les gens, oh, il y aurait de l'aide pour vous, mais de jamais donner cette aide-là. Il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont besoin de cet argent-là, beaucoup de familles. Alors, le gouvernement devrait être plus responsable avec leurs promesses.
Thank you. And with that, we'll go to our next caller.
Hi, Shannon. Hi, Shannon. It's Michelle Belfontaine from CBC. You touched on this a little bit off the top, but I sort of came in just a couple of seconds late. I'm wondering what you make of the fact that there are still a lot of details that are still not firmed up about these cash payments. Yeah, I mean, what does that tell you about this program?
Well, what it tells me is some weeks ago, we had a premier who made these announcements. We now have the legislation, and it has been some weeks. And there are still a number of places where the government doesn't have their act together whatsoever. This is because their priority is the Job Killing Sovereignty Act and not on affordability measures that actually make a measurable difference in Albertans' lives. And, if they cannot deliver it in January, as I just said in French, I'll just go back on that quote for you, Michelle. If they cannot deliver it in January, then they should not promise it then. The fact is that this has been a back-of-the-napkin approach from the very beginning, but people need a competent government right now. And they also need a government who is listening. So when you bust out with a program that leaves 2 million people with nothing, and people say, as feedback, maybe you should fix this, it would seem to me that if we had a government that was actually focused on Albertans' priorities, they would have fixed it. And so, in that sense, it is a real disappointment that they are so focused on other things that are not a priority and that are actually pretty negative for the province instead of doing what Albertans are asking them to do.
Do you have a follow-up, Michelle?
No follow-up, thanks.
Thank you. With that, we'll take another pass for questions. Reminder, press *9 or use the raise hand function on Zoom. And seeing none, that concludes today's press conference. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So much for watching, and to learn more, check out albertasfuture.ca.